Hello children, welcome to Neet World. This is Narayani, I am your foundation faculty. In previous class, we discussed about the microorganisms in introduction and we know about one of the part of the classification of microorganisms. One is bacteria, right children? Before we skim the class of yesterday's session, I would take very important news for you children. We are starting the foundation course from the April 1st onwards and the next batch is going to start from the April 15th onwards children. So, the new batch starts from the every 15 days children, the next batch is going to start from the April 15th and the main core of concepts covered by with us are the exams of NEET and JEE. The main concepts that are discussed by us are based on the exams of NEET and JEE. The core concepts from the basic to the higher level we are going to discussing about according to the class wise children. From 6th to 10th it is very golden opportunity for you children. The first 10 classes are free for you children. So, it is both online mode also and offline mode also. Children, our specialty is every 2 days the activity based learning will be there and conceptual recap of making quizzes to understand the concepts very clearly and the efficiency you can see the progress of day by day children and the cumulative assessments of for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, for 1 month we are keeping for you the examinations and the most important children the career guidance will be given to you, the path which you like, for that we progress you the concepts, what type of examinations you have to write, further how you can achieve your goals, that all should be explained by us children. And so, the mode of learning is through digital panel children. Our foundation summer camp is providing you every 15 days. Children, the next batch is going to start from the April 15th onwards. For offline people, you can happily come to our institute name called Neet World, present in Hyderabad, Narayani G near metro station. Those who want to access through online, the down streaming number is there, no children? Contact with that number by us. Children, thereby you can we will give you the access for you to access all the classes. The first 10 classes are free children, absolutely free. So, don't miss this opportunity children. So, this is about the foundation summer camp of Neet World. So, let's start this session children. Yesterday we discussed about what are microorganisms. They are the smallest organisms, single celled, right children. The study of microorganisms we call it as microbiology. The scientists who study about the microorganisms we call it as microbiologists. Right children, the first who discovered the microorganisms is Van der Leeuwenhoek with the help of microscope. There are two types of microscopes, one is electron microscope, another one is light microscope. In schools, colleges, universities, the most used microscope is light microscope, right children. So, next after that they used in big research institutions, in big research fields they used the electron microscope for to know about the molecular level understanding, right children, which microscope is used in more in to preparation of medicine. It is absolutely electron microscope. If the basic point of view of if you want to know about the cell structure, shape, and if you want to analyze it, the used microscope is light microscope. Light microscope is used with the help of light and coming to the electron microscope used with the help of electrons, right children. So, this is about we discussed and one more discussion what we did children. Microorganisms are classified, there are 5 types. For this I have given the mnemonic for you, right children. So, big fat parrots always visit. Big means bacteria, F means fungi, parrots means P means protozoa, A means algae, V means viruses. This is the mnemonic for you easy understanding children. I given you this mnemonic and as we know the biology has exceptional cases, the microorganism which can see the naked eye, we call it as Theomargatia nabiviensis. This is the microorganism which can see with a naked eye. The bacteria, the mostly it is not seen with a naked eye, right children. The only one we mostly say that microscopic microorganism is Theomargarcia namibiensis. It is a bacteria, and all microorganisms can easily see through by microscope, right children? So then we discussed about the first type, in that is bacteria, right children? Okay, so let's see this. 1 minute. Okay children, see here. So how the microorganisms are omnipresent, we found everywhere in the world, right children? The place we cannot say that microorganisms is not there. Inside our body also microorganisms there. What is its name called? E. coli, right children? The E. coli is a bacteria which is present inside our body, right children? It present in the small intestine, right children? How the in unfavorable conditions also, how the microorganisms are surviving? Because of the hard outer covering, we call it as cyst, right children? So the hard outer covering layer, we call it as cyst, right children? Because of that they can survive in the adverse conditions also. You know, if they are not able to survive in those regions also, they are surviving with the help of the outer covering layer. So this is up to we discussed about the about the microorganisms, and we discussed about the bacteria, right children? They are unicellular organisms. They are more related with plants than the animals. They are placed under the kingdom of Monera. So they are the simplest organisms found everywhere on earth. And coming to their habitat, they are present in everywhere. They found everywhere, and they are present in air also, water also, land also. They can survive in the harshy, drought and heat conditions also, because of they have the cell wall, right children? Because of the outer covering layer, they can affect it is a unicellular single cell organisms. Also they can affect the multicellular organism because of the cell wall, right children? But the animals, is the animal cell having the cell wall? No, only plant and microorganisms have the cell wall, right children? So bacteria having the cell wall, that is it is more related to the plant. So there are two types of bacteria are there. One is aerobic bacteria, another one is anaerobic bacteria, right children? What is aerobic bacteria? Aerobic bacteria is nothing but it is respire with the help of oxygen. Anaerobic bacteria means it respire, it doesn't require any oxygen, right children? So the bacteria which can respire without oxygen, we call it as anaerobic. With oxygen, where the bacteria is respiring, it is a aerobic bacteria, right children? Coming to their shape and size, there are three types, they are found in rod like shaped, spherical shaped, spiral shaped. For coming to the rod shaped children, coming to the rod shape, what is the example of the rod shape? Bacilli, right children? The example of the rod shaped is bacilli. And coming to the spherical shaped bacteria, they are the example it is coccus, right children? Coming to the spirilla, the spiral shape, the example is spirilla, right children? This is spirillum. This is about the shape and structure. The size may vary up to 0.2 to 100 microns, right children? Cocci is one of the smallest microorganism. If they are found in pairs means diplococcus, if they are found in chains means diplococcus, if they are found in streptococci, if they are found in chains means streptococci, if they are found in groups means staphylococci. So this is up to we discussed children. And coming to the next one, cell structure. Why the cell structure is very important to study? Yes children, we have to know about the cell structure in detailed way. See here. So what is meant by structure itself, having what are the parts of the bacteria, right children? So cell of the bacteria has outermost covering layer called cell wall. So the hard outer covering layer of the bacteria, we call it as cell wall. And children, the unicellular single cellular organism mostly come under the group of prokaryotes. We call them as prokaryotes. And the multicellular organisms come under the group of eukaryotes. So eukaryotes are of plants and animals. In further classes we will discuss about everything in detail children. That's not enough for you now to This much all huge information. So see here, the cell of the bacteria has the outermost covering layer, we call it as cell wall. It is the cell wall, children. Because of the cell wall only the microorganisms are so powerful, right children? Because the nucleus doesn't have any nuclear envelope. The nucleus does not cover with any hard material, does not protect it, right children? See here, the cell wall of bacterium has outermost covering layer called cell wall, and well developed nucleus is not found. Why it is well developed nucleus is not found? It is scattered, children. See here, so the nucleus is scattered, so it is not covered by the any nuclear envelope, nuclear membrane like that, right children? That's why, but the nuclear material are found in scattered in a jelly like substance. The jelly like substance we call it as cytoplasm, children. So the jelly like substance, we call it as cytoplasm. In that cytoplasm, the nuclear material is scattered. So the chromosomes are not found. So the chromosomes are scattered in a jelly like substance called cytoplasm, right children? So it is present inside the cell, but but the outer covering is surrounded by very thick outermost with the cell wall. That is why unicellular organisms can affecting the multicellular organisms, affecting both plants and animals also, right children? See here, the cell is enclosed with a gelatinous envelope called capsule. The cell wall, it is a cell wall, right children? It is gelatinous substance, means mucilage substance, jelly like substance. Having the jelly like substance is covered around the cell. We call it as capsule, right children? The cell is enclosed with a jelly like substance. We call it as capsule. That is why the inner uncovered nuclear material is protecting, right children? So bacteria have flagella. How this bacteria is moving to everywhere, and how they are passing and how they are present everywhere? Because of the, if they want food, with the help of the flagella only they move from one place to another place, right children? So bacteria have the flagella. It is a thread like structure that help in movement. Because of that movement only the bacteria is traveling from one place to another place, right children? This is about the cell structure. So the cell wall, the cell of bacteria having the outermost covering layer, we call it as cell wall, and the well developed nucleus is not found because it is scattered in the jelly like substance. We call it as cytoplasm. It is scattered. The nuclear material is scattered in the cytoplasm, right children? So the cell is enclosed with a gelatinous, which means mucilage like substance. We call it as capsule, right children? So the bacteria have the flagella. It is a thread like structure that helps in movement, right children? For the for the food purpose it will move to the places. That is why this is how the cell structure of the bacteria. So and another more important, children, see here, the bacteria having the extra chromosomal material. Say here the circles is there, no, that we call it as plasmids. The extra chromosomal materials of the bacterium we call it as plasmids. It is mostly widely used in genetic engineering, in the biotechnology process, right children? Biotechnological process techniques, right children? The extra chromosomal material we call it as plasmid, and see here the nucleus is not well protected, and it is a well developed nucleus is not found but is scattered in the cytoplasm. We call it as DNA, and here the ribosomes. Ribosomes helps in the making of protein, right children? See here the inclusions of the cell membrane, we call it as mesosomes. What it is, children? Mesosome. The inclusions we call it as mesosomes. It is a small, the large thread like filaments we call it as flagellum, and the small here we call it as thread like structures we call it as pili. and this is a jelly like substance, we call it as cytoplasm. And then after the cell wall, the membrane is, we call it as plasma membrane. Right children, this is the cell wall. And the cell wall is made up of, after the cell wall, the capsule is present, is made up of glycocalyx. This is about the cell structure of the bacteria, children. So coming to the next one, 1 minute children. So see here, coming to the nutrition, to survival, so they are also dependent on the food. What kind of nutrition the bacteria is taking, that's all we we discuss here. See, the most bacteria lack chlorophyll. If the chlorophyll have, they can able to synthesize their own food, but most bacteria doesn't have lack of chlorophyll, which means doesn't have chlorophyll. Right children, therefore they either live as saprophytic, they depend on others, they depend on food for others by decomposing it. Those we call it as saprophytes or parasites. They are depending on the other organisms, or else they are depending on the dead organic matter, we call them saprophytes. Or if they are depending on the other organisms like plants, animals, we call it as parasites. Right children? So some bacteria live in symbiotic association relationship with the others. What is meant by symbiotic relationship? Which means mutual benefit. Mutual benefit. See, in the crop production and management, we studied about the rhizobium bacteria, right children? Rhizobium bacterium present in leguminous plants, in the root nodules. This bacteria helps in making to fix the nitrogen, may able to fix the nitrogen, right children? And the nitrogen is utilized by the leguminous the plant, and for the food shelter purpose, the bacteria is depending on the plant, right children? They are mutually benefited. The plant is also get benefiting, the bacteria also get benefiting. That relationship we call it as symbiotic relationship. The involved organisms both are benefiting. That we call it as symbiotic relationship. That relationship we call it as symbiotic relationship. The best example is we already studied in the crop production and management. So leguminous plants. So their roots having the nodules. In that root nodules, the bacteria name called rhizobium is present. Those rhizobium bacteria which help to fix the nitrogen. Thereby the plant utilize the nitrogen for their for protein making and what not, for the nucleus and all that protein is required. Right children? For the then the bacteria is getting the food and shelter. Right children? For the nutrient purpose, the bacteria is depending on the plant. This is how the symbiotic relationship mean. So for example, he has given another very good example, children. For example, a bacteria called Escherichia coli. I already said, no children, in small intestine of human beings, the bacteria name called E. coli. The bacteria name called E. coli, which means Escherichia coli, lives in the intestine of the man. It there lives in the intestine of the man. So it is beneficial only for us. So the bacteria which is beneficial to human beings is, we call it as E. coli. It is present in the small intestine of the man. Right children? So some bacteria, in spite of absence of 1 minute children. Okay. See here. Some bacteria, in spite of absence of chlorophyll, if the bacteria doesn't have chlorophyll, either depending on the dead organic matter or they live on the other organisms, we call them as parasites. Right children? So in parasitic mode of relationship, there is no benefits children, because the parasite always harm the other organism only. Right children? So some bacteria, in spite of absence of chlorophyll, they make their own food. If the chlorophyll is not there, then how they are making their own food? Right children? So with the help of chemicals, they have the presence of chemicals like sulfur, hydrogen sulfide, etc. These are the chemicals present inside the bacteria which are able to make their own food. So that food production process we named as chemosynthesis. Chemo means chemicals. Chemo means chemicals and synthesis means production. With the help of the chemical production, the bacteria is able to prepare their own food material. Right children, this is about the chemosynthesis. Right children, for the nutrition purpose, the most bacteria lack chlorophyll, so they are either live as a parasites on the dead organic matter, or they live as a parasites affecting the other organism for their food and shelter. Right children, so for their food and shelter. Right children, some bacteria live in symbiotic relationship. Example is for the plants, rhizobium bacteria, nitrogen fixing plants, we call them as leguminous plants. Right children, in leguminous plants, the roots having the root nodules. In that the bacteria name called rhizobium is present. It is able to fix the nitrogen. So the plant uses the nitrogen, and the bacteria also get benefiting by for their food and shelter. Right children, and another more good example is E. coli. E. coli is a bacteria which is present inside the small intestine of the man. Right children, some bacteria in spite of absence of the chlorophyll also they make their own food with the help of chemicals. That process we call it as chemosynthesis, which means with the help of the chemicals the production of food is happening. That process we call it as chemosynthesis. This is about the nutrition of the bacteria children. See here the decaying matter, the saprophytes, like example here given the Bacillus subtilis is the bacteria which helps to make the which helps in get food for the food. The bacteria is depending on the dead organic matter. Right children, this is about the nutrition of the bacteria. Coming to the next one, see the bacteria which is used for need of oxygen for their respiration, we call them as aerobic bacteria. We studied, right children. So the bacteria which depending on the oxygen, which depend on the need of oxygen for respiration, we call them as aerobic bacteria. Aerobic bacteria require more amount of oxygen and require oxygen, and those bacteria which do not require oxygen for the respiration, we call it as anaerobic bacteria. It does not require oxygen. Right children, so here the chloroform bacteria, the reason for the typhoid fever is water. Right children, so the chloroform bacteria which mostly used as indicator of wastewater pollution. So in the water, if the wastewater, the more amount of the bacteria seen is coliform bacteria, which responsible for the typhoid fever. For the typhoid fever, which bacteria is responsible children? Coliform bacteria is responsible for the typhoid fever, because in the wastewater the more amount of this type of bacteria seen which affects the typhoid in the humans. Right children, so this is about it. And another more very important children, last one, reproduction. So you are fascinating about how the bacteria or microorganisms, how they are evaluating their own species. Right children, so ultimate goal of any organism is to evaluate their own species. Right children, so how the microorganisms, bacteria, whatever, how they are omnipresent, they found in everywhere. How they are founding everywhere, how their offsprings, how their individuals are dividing, and how what process we call it as. Right children, so how they are dividing, and we are fascinating about how they are present everywhere. Right children, so for that the bacteria mainly rely on the binary fission, comes under the group of asexual reproduction. In the asexual reproduction means there is no involvement of gametes. Right children, there is no involvement of two parents is not required for the asexual reproduction. Right children, the types of asexual reproduction are budding, fragmentation, binary fission, spore formation, right children, and multiple fission. These are the 5 asexual reproductions. The microorganisms are dependent. For the bacteria, the mainly depending on for the reproduction to get their individuals, they are mainly depending on the binary fission or multiple fission. What is multiple fission or binary fission? Right, children? What is binary fission and multiple fission? See, under favorable conditions, if the bacteria has got enough food and the environment is sufficient, it can grow. It is suitable for the growth of the bacterium. Then the bacteria, what they will do, it become twice amount of the its own weight, its own makeup. It becomes a twice amount of it, and then they divide further to increase itself, right, children? So under favorable conditions like suitable temperature required, moisture, because of in the moisture content only the microorganisms more attentive to progress there, evolve their own species and get enough food to can able to give rise the offsprings, right, children? They make up to form the individuals, right, children? So the moisture and enough food, bacteria divide rapidly. For when these conditions are there, for the suitable temperature, moisture and enough food, then the bacteria can divide rapidly. It can be done either by the multiple by fission or binary fission. It can divide by the fission, either by the binary fission or multiple fission. So in the word itself, multiple makes the copies of the bacteria will get more in multiple fission. In binary fission, only 2 copies will get, right, children? So this is how the bacterium is going to divide. So let's see here. The bacteria simply divided into 2 organisms. So see here I given the very good representation of the bacteria in binary fission, how it is happening. So when there are suitable conditions of temperature, moisture and enough food get the bacteria, it becomes twice amount of it, and then it becomes twice amount of it, then it is able to and make the copies of the nucleus. Not well developed, the nucleus is not well developed in bacteria, but it makes the copies. It makes 2 copies. Then it is cleaved into 2. So in binary fission, the copies of individuals of bacteria is 2. In multiple fission, same as like it happens, but the individuals is more in number, right, children? So bacteria is divided often once in every. How many minutes to take for the reproduction of the bacteria means 20 to 40 minutes is enough for to divide, to give the 2 individuals of the bacteria. 2 individual copies can, 2 individual. To make up 2 individuals of the bacterium through binary fission, 20 to 40 minutes is enough for to multiply, right, children? Fission can be of 2 types. One is binary fission. In binary fission, the 2 copies of the bacterium is, we will get, and for the multiple fission, more in number, the copies of the bacterium is, will come, right, children? So in the, as with the asexual reproduction, the copies of the individuals is same as the parent only, right, children? So because there is no involvement of any gametes, right, children? The exact copies of the parent only the individuals make up, right, children? So in binary fission, bacteria cell grows and divides 2 daughter cells, while in multiple fission, many daughter cells are formed, right, children? This is about the reproduction of the bacteria. So let's recall all about once. See here, I make up the very good table for you, children. So see here. So for the classification of the microorganisms, children, they are classified into 5 types. One is bacteria, fungi, protozoa, virus and algae. So bacteria found everywhere and anywhere. They are omnipresent, right, children? So the shape, coming to the shape, they are different shapes: rod shaped, spherical shaped, spiral shaped, comma shaped, right, children? The comma shaped is called vibrio. The example of the comma shaped is vibrio. So their size up to 0.200 microns, right, children? So coming to the cell structure, And habitat, we discussed about habitat, right children? 1 minute. 1 minute children. Okay. Coming to the cell structure, what kind of cell structures are there? You know, what are the, 1 minute. Okay. See here, coming to the cell structure, they have cell wall, right children? Because of the cell wall only they are able to, you know, affect the other multicellular organisms like plants and animals, and not well developed nucleus is not there. These are the characteristic features of the, you know, to identify it is a microorganism. So well developed nucleus is not found in bacteria, right children? So it is enclosed with a gelatinal envelope called capsule made up of glycocalyx, right children? So coming to the nutrition of the bacteria, they lack chlorophyll and live as saprophytes, which means depending on the dead and decaying matter for the food. And the parasites, so parasites mean they affect the other animals, it does not mutual benefit, right children? They always affect the other organism which they are present for the food and shelter, right children? So that good example of parasite is Plasmodium. So coming to the symbiotic relationship, in humans only the bacteria named called E. coli is present in the small intestine, right children? So and other more in plants, the Rhizobium bacteria present in the root nodules of the plant roots, they are able to fix the nitrogen fixation, right children? So this is about the nutrition. Coming to the reproduction children, reproduction is occur through by binary fission. In the when the favorable conditions are there, the bacteria is able to divide twice amount, right children? When the favorable conditions, the bacteria become twice in amount, then the copy of the nucleus happens, then it divides into two individuals in binary fission. Coming to the multiple fission, you know, there are many copies of the offsprings of bacterium will be seen. So this is about the first classification of the microorganisms children. So let's see. If they ask the question like what are microorganisms? Microorganisms are single celled, microscopic, right children, which cannot be seen at the naked eye. That we call it as, those organisms we call it as microorganisms or microbes, right children? The study of microorganisms we call it as microbiology. The scientists who study the microbiology, we call them as microbiologists, right children? So this is about the microorganisms of the first classification of the bacteria children. So in the next class we are going to discussing about the fungi, the second classification of the microorganisms children. I hope all you clear about this today's session children. And what is the macroscopic bacteria which can be seen with a naked eye? Yes, it's a Theomargarcia namibiensis, right children? Then the competitive field, it is very important to know about the, you know, the features, the main which can see through our naked eyes. They are the questions mostly widely asked in the competitive field, right children? This is about the today's session. In tomorrow's session we are going to discussing about the second classification of the fungi. And one more important thing children, so the types of bacteria are two types. One, they can utilize the oxygen, we call them as aerobic bacteria. One which cannot use the oxygen, we call them as anaerobic bacteria, right children? This is about the today's session children. I hope you all clear about the bacteria classification of microorganisms. Bacteria, the first one is bacteria. If anyone have any doubts, please comment in the comment section children. So all subscribe and daily watch my videos children. And coming to the once again reminding you the our Neet World Foundation Summer Camp children. So the Foundation Summer Camp will be every 15 days children. The all free basic classes provided for you free children. And the main core concepts we are discussed with us are based on the exams of NEET and JEE children, to the, you know, for basic level to the higher level. And the main for 2 days the activities based learning should be given to you, and the mode of concepts are made according by you know, through animations, videos and all that, and making you quizzes or after every week, and cumulative assessments will be provided to you. And one of the most important things, career guidance. to choose the path, you have to know about the right path, right children? So we are providing the career guidance programs also for to achieve your goals. It is very helpful, children. So I hope all of you join into the Neet World classes. So don't miss this opportunity, children. It is both offline also and online also. Who want to join through online? In the down streaming number is there, no children? The number is scrolling down, right? So contact with that number with us. Thereby we can give you the access for you in the app. And who want to join for the offline classes, you can happily come to our institute name called Neet World, present in Hyderabad, Narayani G near metro station, children. So this is up to today's session. Let's meet in the tomorrow session. Thank you.